Welcome to Agape Learning Tools Podcast. I am one of your hosts for tonight. I am Jenae McKnight, and today I am going to have as guests with me Dr. Frank R. McKnight and John Boyd. Dr. McKnight has over 31 years in higher education, and John Boyd has over 25 years in education across grade levels. So, we're coming back this week to continue the discussion about how to prepare your child for college as well as for careers and for life in general. So, today we're going to go deeper with this discussion from an educator's and a parent's perspective. So first, we're going to talk about what are some things that you can do to prepare your child for careers as well as for college from a baby through pre-K. And so one of the things that we know that you can do because you are the parents, that you are their first teachers as parents. And one of the things you can do is you can teach them manners. It's very important to teach your children from the very beginning manners, how to say please, how to say thank you, as well as teaching them things that they should know before they go to school. They should know their letters, their numbers, their colors. They should know short affirmations about themselves, like that I am loved, I am kind, I am good. They should be able to say things to build their confidence up. So every parent should teach their child that from the very beginning. What do you guys have to say about that?
Well, I think that, to kind of add to that, I think it's important for those positive conversations. We were talking earlier, me and Frank were talking about just introducing children to the careers, having conversations because they can identify with fireman, police officer. I can recall when I was young in kindergarten and officer friendly, I forgot that dog, the fire dog, but it made everybody want to be a fireman. I mean, it was people were very impressionable. My classmates, we didn't see, what's available now, influencers, computer engineers, things of that was way before that, but I think that, those types of things, you're incorporating those type of things and, visually showing those images to our children because they can kind of, put those in their long-term memory. And when they see them again, they can kind of recognize them.
Yeah. And then too, also adding different TV programs, PBS, and then also buying different videos and things related to careers, maybe their favorite cartoon character, may, show what it takes to be a doctor, what it takes to be an engineer or a fireman or what have you, to pique their interest. But I think parents have a key role in that they've got to make learning fun, and make it, exciting. And so that it'll carry on through kindergarten, first grade and on.
Right. And one thing that I would like to say was definitely to teach children their full name and their parents' name before they go to school. They should always know their full name and both of their parents' full name before they go to school. Well, once they get into kindergarten through fourth grade, now they have conversation skills. You want to kind of work on making sure that they can carry a conversation with an adult, with another student. They start learning sight words. They start learning social skills, how to get along with other people. And that's very important as well when they start getting into like kindergarten through fourth grade. They also will learn more careers as well, how to get there. They'll know that, okay, so if I want to be a lawyer, I need to go to college and then I have to go to school after that. They may not know exactly what it is, but they should know that, that I have to go to school and continue on in school. What else do you guys think that they should know at this level?
I think that you know, in the beginning, I'm going back to baby, pre-K, kindergarten. I think, you know, just the structure of
Okay.
learning has to be
Mhm.
prevalent. You know, I think there's a lot of parents now who rely on schools
Mhm.
to educate their children. You
Yeah.
know, and it's because we have, and I'm just being honest, there's a lot of parents who, you know, didn't take education serious when they were,
Mhm.
you know, growing
Mhm.
up, and that has to be spoken about. You know,
Yeah.
so where am I at? How can I help?
Mhm.
What do I need to do? Is great to jump ahead, and I think we do that a lot in society. We jump ahead of the foundations. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And we put a Band-Aid on everything else instead of going back and teaching the foundation. I'll never forget Miss Champion, you know, just constantly putting that doggone cassette tape in that record, that cassette player, and 1+1 = 2. 1+2 = 3. I mean, over and over and over.
Mhm.
So I had no choice but to learn it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It was effective. It was repetition. 1 × 1 = 1. You know, just constantly, and the structure, you know, of saying it's quiet time and you're going to learn this stuff right now. Those are things, you know, taking out the time, you know, to make sure that we spend that time in educational avenues, you know, on the educational street. And like, you know, Dr. McKnight said, you know, you want to, you know, it's very important that, you know, education is they're exposed to it, you know,
Mhm.
television shows, you know, affirmations, you know,
Yeah.
those types of things. But I think we need to talk more about the foundation, because there's a lot of parents who really don't, there's a lot of parents, a lot of teachers
Yeah.
who
Yeah.
really don't know how to reach children, you know, and
Yeah.
I'm not gonna, you know, human children. I mean, children. You know, they don't. You know, they look at a book and they say, or they have a professor and they say, this is what I'm supposed to do. But what about the challenge? What
Right.
about the challenge? What about the
Mhm.
kid who comes from a, you know, a background where they grow up and there's a lot of profanity used in the house, and they're
Mhm.
saying, are you appalled or are you going to help? You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
If
Right.
you're appalled, then you have blocked the ability to help that kid because
Right.
you're appalled. I can't
Mhm.
believe a kid talks like, yeah, I believe it.
Right.
You know,
That's true.
believe it.
Yeah.
Now, what are we
Yeah.
gonna do about it? What are we gonna do?
Right.
You know,
Mhm.
and that's where I think a lot of people, you know, we sit back and we write these things down, and this isn't a perfect world. And a perfect man, more than ever now, it's not perfect.
That's
You
true.
Mhm.
gotta learn how to deal with, and I say this all the time when I'm coaching, you gotta learn how to deal with being uncomfortable
Yeah.
Mhm.
and make it normal. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Because then you can process people, you can understand people and their abilities. I'm not going to say that they have flaws. I'm going to say that these are things that the way they grew up or the way that they see life, it's important to them.
Mhm.
Mhm. Mhm.
But
Yeah.
everybody, you know, like Mama said, everybody needs to know how to wear the mask. You know what I'm saying? You got to know. When I go to church, it's a certain way to act. When I go to the library, it's a certain way to act. When I go to school, it's a certain way to
Those
act.
life
I'm
skills.
at, there you go, life
Right.
skills,
Right.
Yeah.
foundation,
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
true.
foundation.
And
Mhm.
that is taught in the home. Definitely.
Right.
You have
Yeah.
But I
to
gotta,
get
but I gotta come back. I gotta come back. I'm coming back at y'all.
okay.
How
Mhm.
can you say it's taught at the home when it does not, when people don't know about that?
And it doesn't exist in the home. That's true. That's
Yeah.
true. It may not
And I'm
exist
so
in the
tired. I'm
home.
just gonna be honest. I'm so tired of
Mhm.
people blaming parents. These parents don't know. How you gonna blame somebody who don't know? You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
Mhm.
You can't.
Mhm.
Stop pointing the finger at parents. They don't know. Y'all,
Right.
all educators. Oh,
Mhm.
this the parents should teach this. They don't know. They
They
don't
know, but
know.
don't know how to. Yeah.
That's
So
Approach.
true.
there has to be community. You know, if you're the mayor of a city, and
Mhm.
Dr. McKnight is a mayor of a city, I'm the mayor of a city. and I know that the majority of my citizens are single parent families. They don't, I need to create or have organizations create programs that service these children that can be caught or exposed to things that other people are going to try to expose them to,
Right.
because they're not going to get that from home. It's not going to happen. For
That's
me to
true.
keep saying as an educator, well, these kids are acting the way they're acting because they don't have anything. Okay, and where we going? Where we
And
going?
that's true. And I
Yeah.
think that's a whole nother show. This
Yeah.
this show is geared towards
Mhm.
preparing your child for college and for life. And I get it. There are homes that's not the case. And then that would be a show where we would discuss how can educators help in that and how we do daily help with that, because we are a community and we all work with these children. We work with children every day. So a lot of times it's on the community to, help them get the things that they need if
Right.
they're not available in their homes. So
Okay.
like I was saying though, about kindergartners through fourth graders, that's when, like I said, they need to be taught social skills. Sometimes those are things that some teachers may feel like they should have learned at home, but as you said, they may not have learned those things at home. So a lot of times the teacher kind of becomes like a parent. And they also start to expose them to college and careers and things that they may not know about. Did you have something you want to say on that?
Yeah, I wanted to add, to that, and it brings me back to what John Boyd mentioned earlier
Mm-hmm.
about officer friendly. Schools have to be intentional on bringing outside people in to add to the education of that child. And what I love is, career days, that they bring in various careers, not just the main ones we always talk about, but maybe some relevant careers, a mechanic, a truck driver, maybe a pastor or some other kind of field, and not just have it once a year, but maybe have it several times during the year so that these kids can be exposed to the different careers that are out there.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about the 5th through 8th grader. How do you prepare them for their careers, for their college experience, for trade school? How do you prepare them? And I'm going to have Dr. McKnight speak on that.
Sure. Well, several ways you can prepare them. Number one is college visits.
Mhm.
I don't think elementary school is too early for them to visit a college campus, sit in a college classroom, could be one. Then the other thing is that there are a lot of pre-college programs that are out there that a lot of universities have. One I'm familiar with at my previous institution had a pre-engineering program where they worked with 6th through 8th graders in robotics, and they brought them on campus every Saturday, and they had competitions. So different colleges and universities have different type of programs within their different departments that do outreach to elementary school kids. So, and the other piece of this is that school administrators need to be aware of these programs and really encourage parents to allow their kids to participate, in those programs as well. And that's kind of with that group. You said 6th through 8th grade.
Yeah, fifth through 8th grade.
5th through
Yeah,
8th grade. Yeah.
and we have a program called 21st Century that parents are encouraged to sign their child up by the 8th grade. And a lot of times the parents, they don't sign them up. And when the student gets to high school and they could have had a full ride, a full scholarship to college. So yeah, it's very important for parents to know early on those programs like a 21st Century Trio. There's a program at a university in Indiana called Groups Program where students went down. My brother actually was a part of that program, the Groups Program. Can you speak on that?
Yeah, Groups program was a very exciting program for us because, you know, it has a lot of supports within the program, and transitioning from an urban community into college where you're the first generation college student in your family, you needed those supports, the structure. I can honestly say that, one of the things that really caught my attention was when I was able to go down to IU Bloomington and visit my cousin, Charlene, who was in school. That had a very profound impact on me. And like Dr. McKnight said, doing college visits early, to let them see how those type of campuses operate. I have to also say that this generation that we're in now, it's a very different generation as far as, um, the pressure to go to college.
Right.
There was a lot of pressure to give yourself an opportunity to better yourself, and so, but it also put a burden on, your parents and things like that if you didn't get scholarships and things of that nature, student loans and things. But I think that the Groups program is a great program, especially getting in some of these powerful schools like the Purdue's and the IU Bloomingtons and other schools that have these types of programs for students who otherwise probably wouldn't have a chance to go to college.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And another thing that's very important at this age is also to teach them to set goals for themselves. By 5th through 8th grade, they should be able to set goals. If they desire to go to college, then that should be one of their goals, and the things they want to do to get there. Right now, we have a lot of students that they say, "Oh, I want to make all A's," but you don't have to make all A's to get into college, or even to go into a trade. If you want to go into a trade such as cosmetology, or if you want to go into a program where it's carpentry, you don't necessarily have to make all A's. You just have to learn a skill. And so that's the thing that, there are many different options for students to go into, but that could be one of their goals. And so now we're going to move on to our 9th through 12th grade student. What are some things that our 9th through 12th grade students can do? I'll just say one thing. At 9th grade, they should create what is called a graduation plan. They should have a plan for how they're going to get to that graduation date once they become seniors. Yes, and then you all can jump in.
One thing I encourage students to do if they're in high school, if they can take what we call dual credit courses,
Okay.
where they can take a college level course, maybe their junior or senior year. I don't know if they allow them at sophomore level, but definitely dual credit. That way they can, go on a college campus, take classes with other college students is one way. Another thing is for them to shadow someone in the career field that they have an idea. They're a little more mature, where they could shadow, let's say, maybe an attorney, or they can shadow an engineer or something like that. So I think those are some things that they have to do, which goes back to what we were talking about earlier about parents. And that I think schools should have some type of informationals for parents to say, okay, at this grade level, you need to help your child do this, because again, as John Boy mentioned, these parents don't know.
Right.
I was talking with a parent about financial aid. They didn't know anything about it, and so I walked them through that whole process. So I think learning not only has to happen for the kids, but it has to happen for the parents as well. And schools need to have a platform where they can educate parents on how to prepare your child for career as well as for college.
All right. And then another thing too is that they should participate in extracurricular activities. Mr. Boyd, can you speak on that?
I think participating in clubs
Mhm.
and extracurricular, it just helps you with your socialization skills, which
Mhm.
is very important growing up as a as a human being. You'll hear me say that a lot because I'm like, I'm just really interested in, you know, the human race and how we elevate or how we understand the differences among people. You
Mhm.
know, it's very important to expose yourself to other things, whether you're a fan, go to a game, whether you are, go to an art show. Dr. McKnight talked about these things. We have to expose our kids
Mhm.
to other things. The
Mhm.
educational system is so antiquated. The arts are so diluted now. We don't. There are certain people who are born to be, in the arts, but
Mhm.
we're not reaching those people.
Mhm.
But we have to. Us as educators, it's not just you teaching English or math or science. It's you teaching human skills,
Yeah.
Mhm.
to our young people,
Mhm.
which
Mhm.
is a skill. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Which is a skill, and that's very important for us to, that's what sport is. So when you are a coach, and that's a key word because
Mhm.
I consider all teachers coaches.
Mhm.
If you're an English teacher, you're a coach of English. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And you have to have certain abilities and skills and motivational abilities to reach students. And some of them come with you in their heart, but the object is to make them better. One kid who couldn't say his ABCs, don't make him feel uncomfortable because, or make him feel like he's less than because he can't do as much as the other person.
Mhm.
We have to encourage, and we have to differentiate, educational things, educational curriculums, so that everybody can see some successes,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
and not to, because I'm a big opponent of, the ninth place trophy. I'm a big opponent of,
Mhm.
we're playing and the ninth place person gets a trophy too. Nope, I'm not for that. I think you hurt our children when you do that. You
Mhm.
don't make them hunker down and say, hey, I got to work harder. They're
Mhm.
excited about being ninth place. They're
Right.
excited and think that they're just as
Mhm.
good as. And I think that's that's
Mhm.
that's a
Yeah.
flaw,
Yeah.
you know. But to what you're saying, extracurricular activities, they are so vital and so important to our children today.
And I want to add to that what you said, John, about being a coach, and that's one of the things that's changing in higher ed. At my last institution, we were moving from the word academic advisors to academic coaches, meaning that we don't just tell the kids, this is what you take and that's it, but
Mhm.
okay, why are you taking this? How can we support you? What's going on
Mhm.
in your home life? Because all of that plays a factor. And being able to give advice regarding not only your academic plan, but your life plan as well, and following up on that. And so I do believe that word coaching is a very, very powerful word because it encompasses so much, and it validates the kid. It encourages them, and they know that somebody is rooting for them and somebody's
Mhm.
going to pull them in,
Yeah.
and say, hey, you didn't study. You need to take this class over. What happened? What's going on? So I think that's really important that we have to move into a coaching model to really help kids succeed. Mhm.
Yeah, and this is also this ninth through 12th grade year. These years is when their counselor is really involved with them, and so that's really important that they have counselors that gear them towards what they like, what they are good at, in those areas, because, sometimes, some kids may just want to go to college just because their parents want them to go to college, but they may actually be gifted in media or something like that, that they don't necessarily need to go to college for, so we have to have those skilled counselors as well as the educators to kind of help gear them towards what it is that they really desire to do, that they're naturally good at. And so that's when we can start having them to go and do those educational trips, take them to local colleges, so that they can explain all the areas in a field. Like I said before, I'll never forget when we took a group of young ladies to Notre Dame, and they didn't know that there were so many fields in the STEM area. There were so many different, they could do aerodynamics. There was a lot of things they had never heard of. And they came out saying, hey, I want to go into science. I want to do this. I want to be a mathematician. They started wanting to be in those careers because they were exposed to it.
Yeah, and I think it's important for teachers as well and counselors to be privy of information. If they know a student is really good in math and the university's having a math camp, because I'm sure counselors and teachers get all kind of things across their desk that could benefit, students, and to be able to connect with students and provide that information for them is a plus as well.
Right. Especially even in writing, like if you have a kid that, they're great in writing, they could, do journalism, visit maybe a newspaper or magazine, company, and they can do a lot of different things like that in their field. And, parents, they used to have Take Your Child to Work Day. Remember that? They used to have, and so that would expose them to different careers. I think you took our daughters to work with you one time, and they got to see everything on the campus, right?
You're right, sure did. Yeah.
Right. Okay. And so what is a plan of action that a parent, if I'm a parent, I want you guys to both talk on this. If I'm a parent, what is a plan of action that I should have for my child? What should how should I go about making sure that my child has plans for after school? How should I go about that? If you were talking to parents right now, what advice would you give them?
Well, I definitely would tell them that to search out services that can satisfy some of the needs, the glaring needs that their child desires, or that they want, to model their children after. If there's an absentee figure in their lives, then you have to kind of search out and find those type of programs that will have strong people that can kind of encourage those types of behaviors that are needed. In that way, I think all kids at the lower levels need someone who can read to them on a regular basis. If you can't do it because you're working, putting them in a program with the library so they can hear sight words and things like that, not just putting them on the walls of your home and things like that. Kids need to be held accountable for not doing what they're supposed to be doing at certain times, whether it's 10 minutes or 15 minutes. 10 minutes of reading time, and don't get a book that they can't read, or 10 minutes of homework time, or whatever. And a lot of people, a lot of school corporations are not, giving students the rigor, the homework that they're supposed to, because teachers don't want to teach. They don't want to check homework.
Right.
They feel that it's overwhelming. So again, as a parent, it's not for you to, create hostility towards these people aren't doing. You as a parent, need to search out for these things, and they're available. There are a lot of things that are available, and and a lot of services that can help our young people. And we just gotta, we gotta make sure that we magnify those in our school, our learning communities.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
And one thing that I would definitely tell parents is be observant of your child. See what they're good at. You know,
Mm-hmm.
if Johnny is good at taking things apart, putting it together, whether he or she can work that computer, real well or what have you, or can draw. Look at what they're good at and then begin to kind of develop that. I think I
Mm-hmm.
said in one of the podcasts, if you know your child is good as an artist and likes to draw, get him a sketch pad and buy them some things, take them to the art museum.
Mm-hmm.
So these are things that you can do to kind of see what are they passionate about, what do they like doing, and what are they good at. One thing I will mention is that sometimes kids, do change their minds as time goes on. But I
Mm-hmm.
think if you invest in what they're good at and what they're passionate about, if they're good at cooking, have them make a meal once a week, or take them to a bakery, or doing some things as a parent outside of the classroom that can help your child look at, discover other careers, and hone in on their own gifts, and talents. And then parents, do your research,
Yeah.
study the various careers that are out there yourself, so that you can provide the information or connect them with someone, whether they're in the family or someone that at church that might be in that field that their child is, and can learn, from them, or see if this is really what they want to go into. And I think at that high school level, that that'll give them more of a focus and a determination of what they really want to do, and then how to prepare for that. Mm.
Okay. All right. So hopefully this has been informational to all parents as well as to educators of different ways that you can help our students and help our children in general to be able to be prepared to either go to college or for their career choices in the future. We are the Agape Learning Tools podcast. And if you have any questions, you can email us at info@agapelearningtools.net. And then also we are available. This podcast is available on Anchor. It's also available on Apple Podcasts, on YouTube, as well as
Spotify.
Thank you, Spotify. All right. So it's available there too. So you guys, we will continue to produce these shows every Friday at 11 o'clock. So we hope to see you next Friday. Bye.
Bye. Take care now.
Yeah. Bye-bye.